Hi. Hi. Welcome to Rookie Success Podcast. My name is Jazmyn. I am 22 years old and I will be 23 in 1 month at the recording of this podcast. I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania with my parents who are also my pastors. We just started a church here in the area called Glory Church. So shout out to them. Go follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Stay up to date with what's going on with that. I am in a relationship. I have been in a relationship. Not Southern. Well, don't have a Southern accent. Been in a relationship for the last 3 years. And he's amazing. I love him. Shout out to Tico Jean. If you know him, you love him. Sorry, this is itching. But yeah, so a lot of people might be kind of confused or shocked that this kind of came about. Honestly, for me personally, it is just a matter of time. It is one of the things in my lineup of things that I want to start rolling out, and some of the things that I wanted to do this year kind of got put on hold because of she who should not be named. We all know what's going on in the world right now. I'm not gonna shed some light on that, but so this was one, and obviously with being social distancing and self-isolating and stuff like that, our state is still on a stay-at-home order, and has been for the last month and a half or so. So I now have the time and the resources and the ability to do all of this. I'm starting a podcast. So before we kind of get into talking about, different things and stuff that I have on my heart, I wanted to kind of preface why I chose the name and what it means and what it can mean to you and what it means to me personally. I was kind of just praying about what to call this. I have a couple different branding ideas and names for other things that I have ideas for, but I didn't want this to be a part of that. I wanted this to be something separate, a different community, a different avenue of conversation. So that I was like, God, what do I want to call this? And so the name Rookie Success kind of dropped in my heart, and I looked it up. There's nothing out there named it. There's nothing. It's singular in its own, as far as podcasts and as far as just like an entity of its own. And so I thought about how contrasting it is for the, when people say, oh, that was a rookie mistake. He's made a rookie mistake. And obviously I know what somebody is saying when they're saying that, but I think too, I think there's this concept and idea that we want to rush being a rookie. We don't want to be a rookie anymore, and there's this negative connotation, which obviously, yes, you do want to end up being good, you want to progress, and you want to grow, but I think a lot of times, especially in Christian circles, from my experience and what I've seen, young people can kind of disqualify themselves from the different things that God has called them to because of feeling like they're a rookie and feeling like they don't have the credentials. So even for me personally, when it came to God asking me to start this podcast, I was hesitant. I just was like, what am I possibly going to be able to say to somebody and take up, 15, 20 minutes of their time filling their ear with, stuff, and obviously stuff that I've learned, but I just felt like I didn't know what I brought to the table. And this was all enemy thoughts, and obviously I do my own study and I went to Bible college and I have credentials or whatever, but being 22, I just was like, what is it that qualifies me? And then I thought about David, and I thought about David at 17 slaying Goliath, and how in everybody else's eyes he was a rookie by all means. He had never slayed a giant before. He had never been to war. He had slayed the lion and the bear, but he had never been on the front lines of war, but he knew who God had called him to be. Despite his age, despite what other people's opinion of him was, despite Saul trying to give him his armor and, different things, trying to lay upon him what worked for Saul. So from that, I was really inspired by this idea of being a successful rookie. Not necessarily being an expert or having big name credentials or having all these, doctorate degrees and all that, which is great, and all those things are great, but not everybody has that, and not everybody is going to even attain those things. But they still have a story to tell. They still have something that they bring to the table, and they still have a platform and a place. And for me personally, that's kind of how I felt. I just was like, I guess for me, something to learn about me, I am a hobbyist. I like different things. I like to thrift. I liked photography for a long time, and I still do. I have a camera, but I'm in the progress of getting another one. I want another one. But yeah, photography. I like videography. I like all kinds of different things. I love music. I love all that kind of stuff. I played trumpet for 8 years. But I've never considered myself to be an expert at any single one of those things. Now, whether or not that's my fault, another conversation. But regardless, I've never felt like I was an expert, like I said, at any of those things. And so I think we can too often disqualify ourselves, especially as young people, in a way that's almost like, well, we'll just leave it to them. We'll leave it to whoever, has the platform and has the, millions or thousands of followers and has all these different things. But we have something that we bring to the table too. Jazmyn, you have something that you can bring to the table. So yeah, I wholeheartedly, believe in this idea of being a rookie success. And I think it transcends ages. Obviously I think my personal demographic is the young people. That's the people that I interact with the most. Not for any particular reason other than those are my friends. I'm 22. Sorry if you hear children. They are taking the trash cans out, and that's right outside my door. Anyways, yeah, so also I'm a rookie at this, so I almost felt like with this I was like, I never done this before, so how am I supposed to do this? And obviously I've done my research and I have this whole setup right here and all these different things. But it was really, really easy for me to disqualify myself from doing whatever God called me to do. And doing this in this season was also difficult. I will say it was kind of difficult to want to do this because I know of a lot of people that are pushing out content right now. And I'm excited for them, and I, fully support what they're doing, but I almost felt like I didn't want to be a bandwagoner or push something else on somebody. Like, hey, I know you're listening to 8,000 other podcasts. Here's one more. But regardless, even if I only get one listener and when somebody says that they got something from something that I shared, that is completely worth it to me. And that's the goal. So I do want to say that I do have a scripture that I want to base all of this on. And that is going to be 1 Timothy 4:12 in the Passion Translation, which says, and don't be intimidated by those who are older than you. Simply be the example they need to see by being faithful and true in all that you do. Speak the truth and live a life of purity and authentic love as you remain strong in your faith. And so I went to this verse because when Rookie Success dropped in my heart, I immediately thought about Timothy. And a long time ago, I read this book called Living in the Combat Zone by Rick Renner. And he basically, he's a really, really good teacher. He breaks down the Greek and Hebrew for you. I have a Sparkling Gems devotional that Tico and I read from every once in a while when we can. But yeah, he breaks down Paul's letters to Timothy, and essentially, like, Timothy was living in a time where it was hard to be a Christian, and people were leaving him, and people had everything to say about what was going on in his church and how he was pastoring and all these different things. And so I understand that perspective, and I understand what Timothy was facing, but I think also too, for even westernized Christianity, it's not even that. Well, I will speak for myself. I've never felt like I've ever been approached with an older generation or an older person with like a nasty mindset about me. They might have preconceived notions and they've never expressed them. That's another thing, but I've never experienced that firsthand with me personally to my face. But I think I have experienced where I've been intimidated by somebody older than me, either in ministry or if it's your day-to-day, your manager, disqualifying you or feeling like you can't attain to a position that they have. But it's not our job to feel, how do I want to say this? Our job is only to do our part. And I think too often we think our part is our part when we're in our 30s, or our part when we are in a position to hold a microphone or different things like that. But it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. And I think, at the ripe age of 22, I can accomplish a lot. And I know God's calling me to accomplish a lot and help people. And I don't have to wait until I, feel like I've made it or feel like I know enough to tell you what I've learned, or tell somebody what I've learned, or how I've gotten to where I am, different things like that. So by all means, I believe that in some areas and things that I've learned, I'm a rookie success, and I want to share my rookie success stories, and I want to help you or whoever to be a rookie success. So yeah, I want to delve into a lot. I have a lot on my heart, and things that I feel like I'm constantly in conversation with people about and encouraging people with. This is just kind of broad scale conversation. I really like to talk to people. I didn't do this because I like to talk, but I did this because I like to talk to people. I like to hear their experience and encourage people and love on people. So this is definitely going to be conversational. Obviously, it can't, I'm not like live streaming or anything, but I want this to start conversations, and I want to start conversations with whoever's listening, and I want this to start conversations within yourself. I'm a very, like, I don't know, I like to have deep conversations. I like to pick people's brains and have my own brain picked. So you can ask my stepmom. I ask a lot of just random questions about existence, and she just, it's contrary to her personality. But yeah, so this is what I'm doing, and I would love to invite you along on the journey. I am a rookie at this, but we are learning every day. So yeah, my tagline, the way I felt led that I should end every single episode or whatever, was I see you, I love you, keep growing.